Hello, and welcome to Blackfeather Guild. Before we go in and say hi to the cast and get started with the show, I wanted to talk very briefly about viewer actions and a little bit about sponsors. So, first off, there's a number of ways that you can actually actively participate in the show through viewer actions. One of the easiest ways to do so is through retweeting the game tweet. You should see that somewhere in chat if it's not in there already. But you just click on that link and hit retweet, and for every 5 retweets that we get on that, it will add a bonus to the cast pool and the game master pool. Now, in most cases, that's going to be an extra d6 that they can add on to any roll. Basically, a great way to use that is if a player is almost meeting a DC, but they're just not quite there, they can grab one of those d6s from the cast pool, roll that, and then add that to their roll. Basically, is how that works. Same with the GM. So that's one of the easiest ways that you can participate that way. Another way is through guild coins. That's our Twitch channel points. If you look at the rainbow colored icon, it should have the Blackfeather Guild crest on it. It should be right below your Twitch chat box. If you click on that, it'll show you all the different things that you can get with those. The biggest one being plot points. Now, plot points, you can see an example right over here. They all work pretty much the same way. It's just a matter of how big of an impact they have. So for the example, when we've got 2 plot points, the player of your choice gets something moderately helpful or unhelpful. Enter any suggestions for the GM into chat, or you can have the GM come up with something entirely on their own. So just choose if you want it to be helpful or unhelpful to the party, and that's kind of how you can use them. You can throw in your own suggestions as well. How those work: 1 plot point is something trivially helpful or unhelpful. 2 is moderately, 3 is very, and 4 is very to the entire party. So if you want to do something to help the entire party or really throw a monkey wrench in their plans, 4 plot points will do that. So that's guild coins. And then finally, we've got donations. So if you want to help out with keeping the lights on in the place, so to speak, there's a number of ways that you can financially contribute. One of those being coffee.com/Raven or Raven.rocks. You can see both of those examples down there at the bottom. Those are the addresses to do direct donations. You can also do Twitch subscriptions or bits. Those work the same way. And then finally, Patreon. We've got a Patreon, which you should see in chat here any second if it's not there already. And our Bard tier patrons and higher get credits towards viewer actions every month that they can use on any show that they would like. You just have to let us know in chat how you want to spend those, and then we'll hand those out. So, some very cool stuff. Before we hop over to see the cast, one last thing to mention is a couple things on this chart here. We've already covered the D6 and the plot points, but the triple crits, what that means is you can gift auto critical successes. And you can, it's triple because you get 3. You can divvy those out however you'd like. You can do 2 to the cast, 1 to the game master, all of them to the game master, however you want to do it. So they work much like the D6s. The cast members just grab that when they're available and they really need them and use them. So it's pretty cool. And then finally, the last one, introduce an ally or enemy NPC. Just give us a brief description of what you want this character to look like, kind of their character concept and a name, and let us know if you want it to be an enemy or an ally to the party, and the GM will basically take that and run with it. So really cool ways that you can participate. Lastly, I just want to take a quick moment to mention our sponsors. If you look at the logos down below, that's who's sponsoring this episode, and we'll talk a little bit about that before we introduce everybody as well on the next scene. So yeah, check all this stuff out and thank them for supporting us, and thank you for being here and watching. Let's go say hi to the cast.
Hello, thanks for that introduction, Pastor Raven. Before we get into the game, I'd like to take a moment to thank our sponsors, Fundamental RPG and Grinding Coffee Company. Be sure to check out grindingcoffee.co and use the code RAVVYN for 13% off your order. That's right. It's really good coffee. Raven totally supports it. Next, let's go around and meet the cast. So, Eka Norlax, why don't you lead us off with who you are and who you're playing today?
Hello, I'm Ekinorlax. I am playing Mips, similar, an alien creature that's similar a little to Bimax from certain proprietary intellectual property. But I'm green, and I can divide into 2 of me, or 3 of me, or 4 of me.
You're like a beautiful amoeboid Baymax. Polished.
Mitosis.
I'm Polished, and today I am playing Autumn, a sentient birch tree with a minor hoarding problem developing. At least in plants.
Tiny little bit. We'll get there. I feel like if we're not at the end of the season and the ship isn't just a plant, I think we might have gone somewhere wrong. Darkora.
I'm Darkora. I'm playing Eva Maddock, human engineer.
It's so good when we get the succinct ones. You're like, yeah, it's fine. I'm here. I'm the token human on board.
Yeah, I'm the inclusion project. It's fine.
Jem.
Hi, my name's Yellow Jim, and I'll be playing as Luna, a giant anthropomorphic bee who's still recovering from having their eyes shot at with spicy meat goop.
Yeah, that was a thing. Oops.
She doesn't want to know about jazz this time.
They're too busy in pain to ask about if you like
finally
jazz.
realized where that's from.
It took you how many episodes of this
never
to
seen
realize
the movie.
How did you still alive then?
Very, very easily. And Chobby, why don't you round us out on that?
Hi, I'm Chobby, also known as Hallway Secrets. I will be playing Willem, who is your resident angsty teen android who doesn't know where he comes from.
This kind of phase, Mom.
Where does he come from? Where does he go? Exactly. As for myself, I am Jay. Whoa! Thank you for that raid, Jake Rose. What's up?
Thank you.
Oh, lovely. Thank you so much. Welcome, Raiders. For those of you just joining us, this is the Void Cavalcade. And last session, our entire party decided to indulge in, I guess the last 2 sessions really, indulge not only in hot peppers, but in vacuum nerds and in kind of getting to know the rest of their crew and figuring out what plants everyone loves and where they're from. Last session was a little more emotional than usual, well, to say the least. And we learned some things that we hadn't heard before. Now they're heading off to let's say, a research hub, for lack of a better term. Rinty and Dinai are two planets locked in a permanent binary orbit, in their orbit around the sun. And that is where the party has found themselves. The caravan has pulled out of the bleed from their cleave drives, and you are free to walk around the open air cabin, as it were. I have in Roll20, I also have a card to give out to each of you, which is the new one. Let me find that
Yay.
here, because Roll20 is
Is
garbage.
there a shiny thing?
It's a
Get
shiny.
something shiny?
Let me just
Shiny,
deal that
shiny.
out to everybody. So I've made up cards of, and I will be posting this on my Twitter later on. I've made up cards of all of the places you'll go.
Ooh.
Yeah. And there's Econorlax, and I was missing someone. So that is Rinty and Dinai. There's a little blurb in there, and I will read that off for the people at home. It was discovered in early 2301, and in a couple of years later, Rinty Hab was the first colony built, which is the more research-focused of the two. With Dinai Hab, which is a more engineering-focused Hab, built about a year later. So they've been around for about 100 years now, give or take. It's currently 2401, I think I said. So it's just coming up on its 100 years. Fairly similar population to a lot of planet-side like cities or habs or anything like that. And in the middle of the two lies what's known as Diamond Hab. And this is where they do a lot of the crafts that actually help fund both the Habs and Diamond Hab itself, because they use the gravitational force of two different bodies pulling and pushing in tandem to create different works of art very easily. Instead of needing a lot of energy to do it, they just use gravity.
Mhm.
So that's where you find yourself.
Casually knocking my desk over.
Yeah, no
That's
worries.
okay. Not the literal one. Okay.
So what hab would you like to go to first? Feel free to ask more questions, or just do your do also things, because Meeps, you were out of commission for the entire, I think it was 5 days or so that the rest of the trip took. And Luna, you were kind of in and out. You did kind of get healed up after the first couple days or so. The caravan knows how to deal with spice injuries and things like that, so they could heal you up pretty well.
So let's say Mips enters the command deck and says, "Right on time, friends. We've arrived and I'm ready. Ready to see new things. What happened when I was out?"
Many things have happened while you were out.
Welcome back,
We
Meeps.
got the hydroponics bay up and running, upgraded the engines.
Yep.
Did you care about my salary stacks?
They are decidedly included. You can go check them out if you want.
Okay. And how are the upgrades doing?
I'm loving it.
It's great.
Yeah,
I
we have
hope you
a go
loved
faster
it.
button.
We were hoping that you will like the upgrades. We want them so you won't be mad at us anymore.
I'm not.
They better be worth it. I
Anyway.
suffered
But
so much.
we have to say, this contest was crazy. It was called eating contest and it included lethal substances. How does it even work?
I mean, you won it. Did you not learn how it worked?
Well, but part of me died in the process. And for the species that cannot divide, well, their death would be not partial. So, dying in eating contest seems like some, well, the judges should be more careful about this, I think.
I think you did get extra points for dying.
You're not
Maybe.
allowed to eat peppers ever again when I'm near.
As far as I remember, we did extra negative points for dying. We didn't win the main
Well,
prize.
The fact that you went off like a claymore directly afterwards and nearly took half the people in the vicinity with them did
It
kind of
could be the
counteract.
whole hurting other people accidentally kind of.
That's
Might.
the substance, not us. We just
It
experience.
got in my eyes, and let me tell you, I don't have eyelids to blink that away.
Ooh.
Ugh.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Okay. Lesson to ourselves. Do not enter into contest with strange substances involved.
Yeah, I think we should definitely have that as a ground rule.
I think it's
I
just
mean,
good
it
life
went
advice.
pretty well though.
Mm.
I can't see the
Okay.
color red anymore.
So,
do before.
how you're dealing with these vacuum nerds at quarters? Do we have a
So
plan? I mean, we were supposed to talk with them about our strange discoveries.
Yeah.
yeah, I don't think we don't directly have a contact, do we? Gonna have to go through some kind of introduction channel.
Do we have a contact?
Not as far as you know. No. You were basically given that these people could help you, but there was no one specific you were told about. But if anyone wants to potentially have had contact with the scientists from here or hence, feel free.
It's
Do you want to
possible
roll for that to
would-
see if we know someone?
More, tell me why and or how you know them. This is me handing the reins to whoever would like to take them for a moment. If you have a character or an NPC you may have known.
Is it a scientific hub for all sorts of sciences, or just?
It's pretty much a widespread. So Rinty Hab tends to do a lot of the more theory, whereas Dinai is the hard science. So you're talking physics and like chemical engineering, anything like that. Basically, any kind of science is applicable or allowed in this hab. And then when you go to Dinai, it's more making things, engineering things, and kind of putting what they've researched into practice.
So since Mips is a sort of amateur anthropologist, Mips might have started their trip many years ago here.
Yeah, I can see that.
A ship brought them from Cordinia here.
Yeah, it's a good starting point for sure. Who what kind of scientist would you say you might have met?
Oh, most certainly that would be sort of zoologist.
Oh, okay. So would you like to name them, or would you like me to throw a name out for it?
Let's say that was so long ago.
Mm-hmm.
If they are human, they are already dead.
Okay, but someone else might have known them.
Exactly.
Okay, I'm down for that. Yeah. We'll say their name was Sewin, and
okay.
they are indeed dead. They were pretty old when you first met them. But there are other people who were their colleagues who are still alive, or at least their colleagues. It's kind of a generational hab. So a lot of the scientists, their children will kind of carry on with it if they're inclined to it. They're not forced into it, but a lot of them grow up around people making, chemicals and studying bacteriums and things.
So Mips would be able to try there to maybe somebody knows somebody about this shady business.
Yeah. Once you're on the hab, I'll have you roll a connect and see if you might.
Okay.
Yeah. Did anyone else have anything they wanted to do before you did that?
I think Autumn is just compiling, same thing as she did with the other people we spoke to, a sort of gradual introduction to our findings, so that she can keep handing it over depending on how things go and how the other person is taking it.
Right, incremental steps to weird science bullshit.
Yes.
A proposition, right? Okay, so
yeah, it's a 5-step one.
Yeah.
And it's partially also because she doesn't want to have to reveal all of their findings
Mhm.
without being certain
Yeah, makes sense.
who or what is receiving it.
Of course, you don't want to publish a
Thank
paper
you!
without confirming everything. Okay. So if you haven't read the card yet, I will specify this as well. In Rintihab especially, the credits are still accepted, but usually only for common goods. Knowledge is traded between individuals.
Would I know if myself and Will might be at risk here?
Yes, in terms of if you have knowledge that you don't want people to know about, either about yourselves or about where you come from, anything like that, really anyone taking a journey here is taking a risk in terms of, and they do tell people when they come into the hab, like, hey, here are some guidelines for not telling people about things you don't want them to know about. And there's no pressure to give information about things, but it's usually a equivalent exchange. So if someone is telling you something that they're keeping kind of hidden or secret, it is up to you to decide what you think is equivalent to that.
Yeah. On that token, Will is definitely like sort of mulling over in his head whether he wants to completely avoid Dinahab completely, and the curiosity of what he might be able to find out about himself there.
Okay.
But he's also doesn't want to be like, hey, so I'm some weird combination of biotech and artificial intelligence. Also, I could see the future. Welcome. I feel like that's not a good thing to do.
I think you're on the right track there, I'm gonna say. I think
It's also like
it's a solid choice.
Yeah.
I think Autumn is also a tad wary of potential becoming a lab animal. There's not that many of her species around, to put it mildly.
Mips is on exactly the opposite
Yeah.
side of the spectrum. I would love to be lab animal. Will there be exercises included? That's how would Mips go.
Yeah, so when you get in, you'll be given like a little pamphlet to kind of give you the ins and outs. And basically what it tells you is knowledge is power, but knowledge is also currency. So when you're trading things, you basically have to come to an agreement with the other person, like, hey, here's where the bounds are. I'm not going to be telling you anything about this. If you're asking for this kind of information, no go. Like you are given free rein to set up your own restrictions on the information before any kind of exchange takes place. So it's not so much I'm going to like blindside you with this much information and now you have to give me equivalent. It's like, no, that kind of person gets jettisoned like in a suit and they're sent out into the space for, a good hour or two. Like it's not anything they accept. When the hab first started, there was a lot of that going around. So they were quick to kind of quash it within the first months.
In the timeout orbit.
Basically,
and
yeah.
Quit.
Yeah, you're going on. It's kind of like keel hauling, but they send them around one of the planets instead. So it's like you're going to the dark side for 4 hours. We'll come and get you, before your air runs out.
Wow.
Yeah. Listen, it's information and knowledge is a dangerous thing, and they respect that. What did I say the name was? Sayway? Yeah. Just double checking my own notes here.
Not many people get put on the dark side.
Kind of want that on a shirt now. So yeah, where would you like to look first? So there's I'll give you a rough description of what the habs look like on the inside, I guess, or from the outside, so you know what you're getting into.
So Mips would say the crew they had a friend here once. It was long ago, so we can be sure if they are still here, but we can ask around. Maybe some friends of friends will guide us to somebody who deals with this stuff like this.
Sounds like a good
You
idea.
remember which hab they were on?
The scientific one.
Yeah, they would have been on Rinty.
That's theory science for sure.
There's a question. Do you want this to be more theoretical or practical? Who do we think can tell us the most?
I guess that depends on whether I think for the most part, Rinty's probably where we want to go with the theoretical, because all
But
we know is
also-
what we've seen. We don't really have like
Not really,
too much.
because the technical part would be more interested in our scanners, I would say.
Yeah.
If we want to exchange that again, another piece.
Also, which category would they file like computing, like computer science under?
Well, probably both, but it's about how it's applied. And the
Self-propagating
thing is,
living
if we
code.
head to the more theoretical route, we're going to get caught up in discussions that will last forever. Then that may tell us nothing. But with the practical one, it may not really give much answers either.
Well, the best route for us would be a fourth planet nobody talks about because it's weird. But since it isn't an option, I guess we have to choose between those two.
May just have to
Maybe
try
we
both.
choose. Maybe we split it up. Go both, but sell information depending on the recipient.
Mips is not good at trading stuff. Mips likes to give away stuff.
I know.
That's fair.
I'm not particularly good at trading either, but
Oh, you are infinitely better than Mips.
I doubt it. But
Also, I want to see both planets.
yes, that's true. It's
So maybe let's start with science one. I will
I'm
ask
checking
my
my-
friends.
I'm checking my pamphlet. Can you sell the same information on both planets?
So with Rinty, it's knowledge for knowledge, or credits for basic stuff. On Dini, it's entirely credit based. There's no trading of knowledge on Dini Hub, just because it's so much more physical. If you're buying anything, it's credits. Otherwise, it's if you
Sell
have any
information
technical-
for credits kind of thing.
Yeah, kind of. You could
Okay.
use your technical expertise on
Yeah.
Dini more so than anything. If you know stuff about something, you might be able to help out in return for more information.
We
Or
do have the scanners to sell.
exactly, and they're always interested in new tech.
So sell the scanners and how to make them
Could be to a profit.
for profit, and then the theory, which is the dangerous part.
We have to start on the science planet anyway for Mips to ask about our contacts.
There's one more question that we really do need to consider before going down. If we're trading knowledge for knowledge, what do we want?
And that is why Mips is bad at trading, because I would always say everything.
Well, yes, that's quite a hard bargain. It's revolutionary knowledge, but worth everything we've found in the rest of the universe? Probably not.
All the knowledge I'm looking for right now is not exactly scientific. So
I mean, the objective here, we don't really want anything much in return. We just want someone better qualified to research this thing, to give us whatever information they might have found, and or actually start researching it themselves.
Again, reading the pamphlet, I love how there's a pamphlet for this.
Oh, of course there's a pamphlet.
Is there such a thing as trading for future knowledge?
Like,
I'll give you the raw data if you give me your findings.
There is with limitations, yeah.
Where
Uh,
if
Yeah.
knowledge is currency, there has to be some sort of credits and interest and banking.
Exactly. It's almost
Mm.
Some kind of
investing.
futures market.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So when you trade information for future information back, there has to be a set timeline established by both parties, obviously,
Mm.
and there has to be clear indicators of who is getting credit, whether it's the finders, the researchers, both.
Mm.
There has to be clear, defined rulings around it. But yes, there is.
Who gets listed where on the publication?
Exactly. Do you get top note or do you get a footnote at
Mm.
the very bottom?
Who gets relegated to et al?
Yes. Oh my God. That has been a few spacings in and of itself. Pardon me. Sorry. Yeah. So if you're going to Rinty Hab, I can give you a quick descriptor, and then I think we can probably get going on it. Give me one
I
second.
do have
forgot my keyboard
one
is
small
super loud.
question
Sorry.
before-
No worries. Go ahead.
I have one small question before we do that. Is there any sort of like niche for more esoteric knowledge down in the hab rather than scientific knowledge? I know they're mainly a
Define
science
define
hub,
esoteric knowledge.
but, I don't even know if esoteric's the right word, but like folklore, I guess, like folklore and history and
Interesting.
That's a good point,
Mm.
because if we wanted to research, for example, here, if we wanted to research cryptids, we would go to people knowledgeable of folk legends and so on. So it's something I'd say it's good folklore.
You know how, and this may not be true for everyone, but you've probably seen it in media at least. You know how in schools they'll always have that weird club
Mhm.
that's just
Yeah.
doing their own thing, and the
Yeah.
just kind of giving them a room because they're like, well, you're not causing trouble, you're just weird.
We don't
That
want
is-
you socialize with the students.
Exactly. Like, that is roughly what you'll find down there. It's kind of like the vacuum nerds on the caravan. They'll be relegated to a short corner, and there won't be many of them. But chances are, in a hub this big, you should be able to find a group like that.
okay.
I like that idea.
That's a good point. I like that. Yeah, so let me get to it because I just wrote this up earlier today. So Rinty Hab is situated in a crater, and the crater itself has been smoothed over the years. It looks like it's purposely smoothed by a lot of traffic. And set in the shadow is an array of silvery white fungal habs. And you all know as characters what fungal habs are, but for those watching at home and for the rest of the players, picture your standard kind of sci-fi, hex dome or what have you. But it is purpose grown, and then the fungus itself dies off, but it's almost like a coral that's left over. So it's a very quick way to organically grow something without needing heavy plastics or metals or anything like that. They're surprisingly resilient. They look like mushrooms kind of sprouting out of the dark side of this crater. And once you're inside, the panels above reveal the starry space beyond. And various people in lab coats and PPE equipment of varying degrees are carrying containers and pulling carts of some strange looking devices and chemicals and other things. It looks like, almost, if you've seen it on TV or anything like that, it kind of looks like a medical laboratory setup. So very clean, very sterile inside. Everyone's wearing some kind of smock or lab coat or what have you.
Ooh.
So you, Meeps, you were looking for your old contact, right?
Seguin was the name, right?
Sayway, yeah.
Seguin. Okay.
Yeah. So if you want to roll a connect on that and see if you can't find someone who might know about them. And that would be with either charisma or int, I would say. Either trying to convince people that you knew them or just telling them things you knew about them. I'm really thirsty today. Sorry.
Oh, I have to shut down the edit mode. Oh, now it's clickable. Okay. Nice. 12.
Very nice.
So with the 12,
bad.
you know, Sayway has passed away, but they had a very large student populace, so to say. Like they were almost a professor in their own right. And there are a few people around that should still know them well enough to talk to you. Kind of people that you know. Oh, that's mighty loud. Let me just turn that down.
Do music.
Yeah.
No worries. Yeah, so we'll say that there is a polity that actually knows them quite well. And their name is Garf. And they're a budding zoologist and what the hell's the other one? Shoot, hang on.
Exobiologist.
Exobiologist, thank you. I don't know why I forgot that specifically, but exobiologist and zoologist kind of combo. So they give you directions to where they're situated in the hab.
Yeah, Autumn is extremely nervous about anything that researches strange alien creatures.
You notice that not a lot of people are giving you like a second glance.
Mm.
You're
That's
not
going to help.
No, for sure. I'm just
Yeah.
letting you know that as a group, you don't necessarily stand out.
Mm.
There are actually a number, more than you've seen on most caravans or planet side. There are more hawks here than you've ever seen before. And hawks, for reference, they're kind of like large sea slugs, and they're not wearing pressure suits, but they are wearing kind of full body gowns almost to kind of keep their membrane from getting everywhere. And they just look like giant sea slugs, but they're fairly prevalent here.
And the polity is the humanoid with the conch.
Yeah,
on
the
back
kind of
their head.
nautilus
Okay.
shell skull. Yeah.
So am I able to find this polity?
Yeah. You go up to the hab door, knock on it, and it says Garf. The last name is written in a non-standard language, so it's not exactly translatable. But it says zoologist and exobiologist. So you knock on it, and a few minutes later, the door goes transparent, and he looks out the door at you and goes, yeah, what can I do for you?
Hello, we are Mips. We were friends of Sewin. And we wanted... Well, you were a student of theirs, right?
Oh, many years ago. Yeah.
We were visiting this hub many years ago too, and we have no one else to go. But you are a xenobiologist, right?
Yeah, that's a good way to put it. What? Yeah, come in. And did anyone else go with Meeps?
I think I did.
Yeah,
Yeah, I think we
I
probably
had
all
assumed
did.
we're all together. Yeah.
Okay, just making sure. So he welcomes you all in. The door like literally goes transparent, so you can actually walk through it. And then he puts it back up and sits back at his desk. So what can I help you with?
We wanted your a little help in locating some people in this hub. I brought the usual currency. We pay for information here. I hope you are still interested in it as xenobiologists community.
It depends what the usual information is, but knowledge is always accepted in some form or another.
A sample for convenience to study, of course.
That's a sample. What exactly a sample of?
We remember xenobiologists to be very interested in our body last time. Did the times change?
I don't know if times have changed. I'm just not familiar with your phenotype. Who?
That's exactly why it's valuable for xenobiologists, right?
I just saw chat. Oh my god.
Damn it, Akora.
That's wonderful.
Sorry.
So Garf kind of stands up and comes over to you and just kind of does like a may I look you over, basically.
We are Cordinian. You are very interested in our species because not of many of us travels to the stars. We prefer to stay in our waters.
I think the last time one of you came here was when Saiwe was still alive.
That might have been me.
Then I suppose I do know you to some extent. We actually studied part of you.
I have very interesting sample, except of the one that forms my body, of course.
Of course. No, we wouldn't want to.
I've brought a pound of Goldinian tissue killed by very original substance.
Sorry, I just want to pause here for a moment. You're literally offering a pound of flesh.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wow.
How Shakespearean.
Wow. So Garf kind of like what substance, if I can ask? I'd happily accept. I'm just curious if it's something, contaminating or contagious. We have procedures for that.
Not anymore. We expelled the most contagious part. But the cellular death that occurred was atypical even for us. So you wouldn't be able to see this before we bet.
Fair.
We usually are able to stop cellular death much faster than that. So, would that be of interest in you? Would you help us find the people we are looking for?
I would. You'd have to tell me the details of who you're looking for and all of that, just so I can be sure that I can
we are
give you the same
looking
back.
for somebody interested in the patch scavenging results on the other planet, and here on this one we are interested in some groups that study the folklore of space, and also would my friends would probably call it a weird club,
And Garth kind of like chuckles at that, like that's bread and butter around here.
Weird club of the patch. That conspiracy theories and so on.
Radiation would be a field that might be of interest.
I do know. I think I know some people that could help you in this. Just checking, someone's on my backyard. There's Met, who is another polity like me, who she knows more about the fault than anyone on any hab here. There's Fiddlesticks, what's the name? Plim, I think is how it's pronounced. There are hawks here on the station. I didn't get very high in my Hawksian studies.
Would you input their location?
Yes, of course.
On my tablet.
Of course. So kind of places it around. As for folklore, you may have better luck asking Plim. They tend to interact with that kind of circle more than I do. I know of them, but where they are, I couldn't say. Of course, you're mowing right now.
It's either someone has a mower, or if it's me, there's usually a leaf blower.
Or a bird.
Gardening is the enemy of streamers.
Oh, God.
We don't play at times. Lawnmowers hit around me.
Yeah. So Plim is a hawk scientist who knows about I just forgot everything I just said. Wow. Thanks, lawnmower. Thank you for mowing my brain apart. Knows more about the vault.
So Matt knows more about the vault.
Yep.
And then Plim is the hawks who knows about
kind of the more esoteric, like weird sides of the vault, I would say. But they would know more about where to find the group that does actual like folklore and stories like that. Because they tend to go more in that circle. Just like it cuts through my brain like a chainsaw. It's so hard to keep focus when that's on. Yeah.
Radiation was the other thing we mentioned.
Radiation.
If that's
yes.
helpful.
Thank you. That I think is actually what Plim was supposed to be about. So yes. Plim is a radiation specialist. And you don't have a location yet for the weird esoteric kind of knowledge you get. But yes, I think that would be an agreeable trade. I'm so sorry. I'm just gonna turn that away.
So Mips passes the container. One question, by the way. We have a working detector on us. Working radiation
Yes.
detector. And does it give any readings here or on the way?
None that you've seen so far. No.
Okay, that's good to know.
That is a good question, though.
So Mips passes the container.
One thing we can tell you about the substance, it's called, what was it called?
Which substance?
Do you mean
the peppers?
The void pepper?
What were they called? Because our memory of this time came a little damaged.
You can just say they're void peppers. We gave them a name, but God knows if I wrote it down.
They were called void peppers. We of course didn't bring any to you because they are too dangerous to contain. But you should find some lore about them in the space web.
I've heard a few tales from other travelers who've come on the Whispering Dune fleet, so I'll take precautions.
We never met any substance this lethal. That was not part of space to ship weaponry.
Well, I hate to say it, but there are some chemical engineers on these abs that might outdo it.
I just love the idea that Meeps is dead set convinced that these peppers are weapons of mass destruction. I've never seen anything like it.
It's beautiful.
Well, after Meeps is considering being ripped apart by Buzz by mere inconvenience, so if something is able to kill Meeps, Meeps is very respectful about this.
I like the idea of a missile that launches into a ship, but instead of exploding, it just expels like vaporized pepper into the air. What a beautiful like pacification thing. Like, oh, we're not going to kill you. We're just going to make your eyes hurt.
There must be some convention already signed that bans this.
Yes, but pirates don't care about conventions.
Pirates don't have resources to grow such weaponry. Mips is certain. Okay.
Yeah.
So
yeah, he takes the pound of Meep's flesh and charred flesh, yeah, and places it into a container. And was there anything else?
Container.
So we got to clarify for me, we got the fault specialist and then the radiation specialist.
Yeah.
Okay.
Mips was also asking about some contact on Rinty interested in space. Or we are on Rinty.
You're on Rinty, yeah.
We're on Rinty, yeah.
So the other
Dinah is the mechanical one.
Dinah. Yeah. Some contact on Dinah about the radiation stuff. About
detector,
fault scavenging and radiation, in fault radiation. Does Garf have any contacts like this?
Sorry, say the question again. The lawnmower is just eating me. I heard most of what
some group interested in scavenging the fault. That must be quite a big crew on the other hub.
So we had the fault specialist, we had a radiation specialist. Is it the folklore we're missing?
Yeah.
The folklore Garf is missing, but we also wanted to ask about some fault specialist on the other hub, maybe.
So someone who's more on the kind of mechanical side of that.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, okay. I can't say as I deal with Dynihab very much, but I would suggest you ask Plim or Met. They may have better contact with that.
So that's all.
Okay. Yeah, and I'm just gonna.
We wish you a happy studying.
And he gives you a little like kind of a weird like thumbs up, but it's like this. You've seen other polity do this, and it's the same thing. It's just for whatever reason they put a finger out. But yes, he seems very excited to study, and he's kind of already digging into the box as you're about to leave.
So finger guns are good.
Yeah.
Did they not actually not know any folklore specialist, or did they
yeah,
not
they
just
didn't
give
know
them-
one.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, do you mean lying to us? Mips
Yeah.
wouldn't know anything about this.
People could lie. Who knew? I certainly
No.
didn't. No, as far as you can tell,
No.
they were being. They were
Everybody's
being-
nice to
Yeah.
Mips.
Yeah.
I was less wondering if they were lying and more if they had just like skipped over it or just forgot.
Yeah, no, they
Say
distinctly said
something,
like,
but-
no, I don't know anyone, but Plim might have better ideas. They
Okay.
work in that circle about more.
Gotcha.
But yeah, I think we're gonna take just a short break. It's a little early, but we've got some other things. I've got to get some things taken care of around the house for just a hot second as well that I realize need to be taken care of. So feel free to stick around, folks. We'll be gone about 5-10 minutes tops, and stretch, get agua, all that good stuff. We'll be right back. Welcome back, everyone. I hope you've all had your time to bio, stretch, agua, all that good stuff. Just before the break, we had found someone who is a radiation specialist, which is what the party's after, and someone else who is knowledgeable in the fault, which is the large 400 light year stretch of plasma storm and debris that separates the range. So who do you want to see first is the question, or was there something else you wanted to do?
Meeps just passed tablet to Autumn.
So it's got directions to both Met, who is the fault specialist, and Plim, who is the radiation specialist.
So
I think
I'm fairly keen on meeting Met. But I also really want to plug that hole and find someone who might know a little more of the weird.
my suggestion is that we start with Plim, because I think that's the most straightforward option, given that we've got the data for, hey, we found a new type of radiation, here's the readings. What can you tell us about it in exchange? I think the other two are going to take longer.
I could see that.
That's
Yeah.
probably fair. Yeah.
So it's a matter of, do we want to get that out of the way, and then, or do we want to save the simple thing for last?
Let's
Try and get the simple
start
thing
easy. I
first.
think. Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool. So you head down the way, and you feel that you're going into the actual planet, like this is dug in with the Habs. There's no sky above you anymore, so all the panels are opaque. And by the time you get down to where Plim is, you find yourself in a very large hexagonal kind of hub, much like the hub you first came into. This seems like it's a branching off point, and from there you go off to one side, and there is a large 2-floor lab that specifically says on the side of it, kind of big bold letters, like radiation lab, wear your PPE, don't fuck about basically.
Right. Do not.
There's a
touch
lot
it.
of, like, not necessarily warning signs, but things telling who's going in, what kind of dangers there are. Kind of a, if you see this sign, don't just walk in. Close your eyes if you see this sign. That kind of thing. Yeah, but you basically ring the doorbell, and someone comes in and takes you over to Plim. Plim is a Hawks wearing full PPE, full like face shield, kind of like a neoprene suit almost, and they look like they're getting decontaminated after doing something. So they hold up one of their little pads to kind of signal, like, just give me a moment. And after degowning and just putting on a lab smock, they kind of waddle over to you, and much like a Trivian, rear up a little bit so they're a little higher to see, like their body is a little more proportioned to humanoids, and they greet you like, "Hello, what can I do for you?"
Hi, I believe we have data that might interest you. It may be an entirely new type of radiation.
Oh, well, please follow me. So they lead the way down the corridor down to their office. It's a fairly spacious office.
Is this vengeance for my green joke last week?
Surprisingly not, no. No. No, listen, we can get into Kermit if we need to, but this is not vengeance for that. So they lead you down there. They're in their office. So what kind of radiation did you find?
I am going to hold out step 1 that I prepared for, especially like the radiation aspect.
Okay.
I'm going to hold it out. That's a taste of what we found.
So what does step 1 look like?
This is pretty much a indicating like this is the side of the spectrum where it's going to be at, but not exact parameters.
Okay.
And just like this is why it wasn't detected by anything we had until we found a way to look for it.
So they pour over it, and they start pulling up figures on their desk. It turns out the whole desk is kind of its own hollow screen, so they kind of start dragging this and that and checking different levels. Well, this is not outside of normal parameters, but it's. Do you have anything more concrete on it? It's. I don't want to push. I just understand that this is.
We do.
May I?
I'm new to this hub. I'm not quite sure how negotiations work here. However, what I will say is that if I do hand you this data, I want to know what you find on it.
So I'll make you a deal. If I find anything on this, I will give you full access, full rights, all information funneled directly to you. That said, I would also like to be able to publish it under my own name with credit to you, of course. These are fairly standard. But if you have any objections to that, please let us discuss.
I have no objections. I look to the rest of the crew.
Seems reasonable.
We are finder. Sorry.
We are finders, you are the researcher.
And I hand. Sorry.
I was just very quickly for Jay. Would the yellow pages we talked about be accessible on a standard data pad, or would it have to like?
Yeah, I'd say so.
Okay, so Will is like typing along on his data pad, and then just gives a thumbs up.
Okay.
Keeps going.
I hand, after we've confirmed this, I hand the full 5th level. This is everything I've got.
Okay. So you see Plim's kind of beady little eyes almost light up, like the surrounding tissue goes all taut, and they kind of, everything. They look excited for as much as a hawk's can look excited. Well, that's hold on, and they it sounds like they start a call with someone else in the hab, like they just dial someone up and start talking with them while they're talking with you.
Yeah.
No, it's on the 7.9, not 7. I know 7.9 hertz. Yes, that's what I'm. So where did you find this?
Gosh, what was the plan? Where did we get the this is for the rest of the group because my memory is a bit shaky. Where did we get the mission for the distress signal? And then I want to give like the time frame it took us to get there, but not the exact location.
I think that's an
actual thing on Tartarus, I believe. There was like a job board type thing there.
You're close. Yes. You're very close. You were you were in orbit when you found it, but it's from the pad.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I think this is stuff, the history with the board and what the vacuum nerd told us about this calls for help appearing is more for the weird specialist.
Yeah. I want to give effectively an approximate rough, it was a 3 days journey from wherever
Tartarus,
it was that we took up from Tartarus.
Yeah.
Because I don't want to give coordinates or anything super specific because I'm trying to not send people there.
Of course, but kind of a general this area.
That's the rough. Yeah.
Okay. All right, that's. And do you have any? Do you know a cause or anything? And I don't expect you to, but we have to ask.
We're not sure. We have experienced the effects of it. We've found a way to detect it, but it's not at a massive range. Started at 100 meters and we're able to extend it a bit. Sorry.
Sorry.
And there's also more. I hold up the sort of handheld scanner that we've got that can help us detect it, or its remnants in people.
In people. So this has affected people as well as space?
Yes.
All of us.
All of us. It took us a while to purge it, but the half-life was not as long as I would have expected.
So you're not contaminated now?
No.
Okay. Sorry.
Of course.
This is it's a contamination issue. We're dealing with other radiations. So, so there were no adverse health effects. You haven't found any deterioration of cells, anything like that?
Nothing long term. However, it seems to have had hallucinogenic effects. I think Meeps knows more about it than I do.
I'm the medic of the group. There was some alterations to the chemical structure. There was some alterations to the psionic aura. Essentially, the memories were a bit affected, but it were possible to isolate the data.
So Plim is kind of like, there's about 5 or 6 sets of their hands that are kind of like ringing over each other as they're listening. This it's very rare I'm stumped. But
Yeah.
this is I'd say it's fascinating, but it sounds like you've had a terrible experience with it. I need a bit of time to kind of talk with my colleagues about this, but for right now, I would say you may be able to get on Dynai some help extending your sensors or getting more tuned calibrating for it. And I have a contact there who may be able to help you with it. I wouldn't recommend going near this kind of radiation again.
No, that's why we're hoping to get better at detecting it at the moment.
Definitely. And if this kind of radiation does what you say it does, it's something I think we should present to the greater whole of the range, just so that no one else is affected by it. What we do here tends to have knock-on effects. So we help with radiation shielding, with detection, mitigation. We don't deal as much with the medical side of it, but we do have people that we contact for that.
Yeah, and I should clarify because we got the question. So this dossier mentions how it affected the senses, like how the radiation behaved, but less sort of these are the natures of the hallucinations that we found.
Okay.
Doesn't
kind of the surface level facts almost.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because I think that would be better suited to the fault specialist.
Okay.
So that's how she sort of
She's like parceling it out. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, we'll study this. For what I can tell right now, I don't think there's any kind of hull plating or shielding that we have right now that could. This wavelength shouldn't exist.
I know.
It's so thin that it doesn't even register on our normal levels. It's like someone's adding an extra number to the end of a scale. I'm equal parts terrified and excited.
Took me a while to figure out how to detect it.
I can see why. What was there anything else you wanted from me? This has turned out to be a lot more than I expected, and I feel I should raise my side of the deal.
What are you offering?
To be honest, what would you like? I can't think of anything to match this at the moment, but if you have a request, I can certainly see about granting it.
Will looks up from his data pad. Know anyone who trades in folklore?
What kind of folklore?
And I'm actually not sure how to answer this question, but
fair enough. So what exactly are you looking for?
Well, I'm looking for references to the homestead mentioned in the Wake Chaser's pin, and also the random line of dialogue that popped into my head last session
Okay.
that I don't
Okay.
think I shared with anybody in character, but
Okay, so Plum kind of like files through something in their desk and pulls out a little hollow dossier, and kind of hands it over to Will. Like, if you find these people, and you can see it's got a map on it as well, like printed on the front. They should be able to help you out. They're the people that tend to put puzzles together when they don't have all the pieces. So they're kind of they're what we call theoretical theorists.
sounds like the people I need.
I
It's
think so.
like practical philosophy.
Yeah, it's so nebulous that it makes space look solid. So it's
and we bet that a renowned radiation specialist like you has some strong pull in the deny group that deals with radiation equipment.
oh
So
yeah,
whatever balance of our accounts could go towards contacts with them and upgrades with them.
yeah, I can definitely talk to them and see what they're willing to put on the table. I'm sure with this that this is essentially like telling someone you can go faster. For gearheads like them, this is going to be what was that holiday you have? Christmas?
I have no
I
idea
think
what
that's
that
the
is.
phrase.
That's the one.
Yeah,
I've heard
it's
it
gonna be
mentioned.
like, yeah, Christmas for them. I love how everyone's like, yeah, that's a thing, I guess.
I don't think
I
that's a
have
thing.
no
yes.
idea.
I
Some
I
guy
don't know
named
whether or
Chris.
not my culture would have celebrated that, but
No, I'm
mentioned.
curious, Ava, if you think of one during the game, tell me what your holiday that would be related to that is.
I think
Whether it's like a harvest holiday.
mine
or-
would all be kind of harvest,
Yeah.
harvest adjacent.
Okay.
It would be very much based around the biological seasons.
I like that.
If you do find a way to block this type of radiation,
You'll be the first ones to know.
that's my main concern. I want to figure out how to not get contaminated.
Oh, absolutely. And with this kind of radiation and what you've described here, it makes the things we have here look like toaster ovens. Burning
good.
skin, cancer cells, these things are manageable. But what you're describing is, well, quite frankly, if I wasn't a
Perhaps-
specialist, I think you're crazy.
I'm going to look towards the rest of the group. We've done the best we can in terms of medical scans. Everything seems to be gone, but perhaps is there a way to check for lasting effects?
Yeah. If you want to go through a full spectrum cycle here, we can run you through a battery of tests, see if there's any residual radiating effects or anything like that. Sometimes with radiation, it'll get kind of a feedback in the cells with the higher wavelengths because it can't get through fully, so it just ends up bouncing around until it dissipates. So there could be residual effects you haven't seen yet.
So if you need somebody to experiment on, I'll volunteer as usual. I like new experiences.
I had a feeling Meeps would be excited to volunteer. But yeah, if there is a discovery on how to block this radiation, I think that is especially the upgrade that we would be interested in receiving in exchange.
We can certainly we can arrange the details.
If such a discovery is made, I hope.
Yeah, I think where we're at now, we have what we call an investing scenario. So you've given us information, and once we have more, we can balance the books, so to say. There's no actual books.
Seems fair.
So yeah, they'll run you through a battery of tests, and it's all non-invasive. It's literally just kind of walking on a treadmill through various scanners, and they will kind of not decontaminate, but they'll like neutralize the body as you go through. So they're like,
I'm so sorry.
What's up?
I have a feeling that for Meeps, this is the like equivalent of going to an amusement park. It's fantastic.
Basically,
That was when you said they are not invasive. Okay, they are not invasive, but are they fun?
Are they fun? Well, you do get shot with like radiating particles at some point. If that's your, if you want to go in the particle accelerator, you could certainly take a spin. 1 minute it's, oh, I don't want hot peppers in my system. The other minute it's, oh, put me through the battery of tests. Why not?
Imagining Meeps on the treadmill, like being passed through the scanners. He's just like going, yeah, arms up in the air like a roller coaster. Whee!
They've set it up
best day.
on a looping track. Oh, jeez.
Uh,
But yeah, over the course of the scans,
Will
Go ahead.
decline scans unless something comes up.
Same.
Yeah, I'm the
am.
guinea pig
Meeps
here.
is more keen to volunteer than any of us.
so Meeps,
The
it's
rest
a very
needs-
tingly experience.
Okay, if there's nothing, the rest needs only to go through if we find something.
Mhm.
If not, then
So it goes through the whole way, and you come out the other side squeaky clean. You feel a little like, you know how you feel after like a sunburn is finally gone, and you feel that like fresh skin kind of feel. That's kind of how you feel.
Oh, yeah.
You feel very like smooth and almost silky to the touch. And they tell you that there's no residual signs of any radiation aside from normal kind of background radiation from living on ships and what have you.
Yeah, we made a battery of comparative tests on infected samples before, and it proved them clean, so that was to be expected.
Well, if you are keen to share any medical knowledge, there are certainly other people within the hab that would be willing to trade for that as well. But I think for now, with this amount of information, it's probably just going to turn my department into an absolute zoo for the next few months. In a good way. I mean, it's nice to have a challenge. This music is like super. Sorry, this music is really like concerning. There we go. Let's just do that. So, what does everyone else want to do? You've kind of secured your contacts there. Was there anything else you wanted to do in the radiation labs? Which is not a phrase I thought I'd get to say today.
after I've got the tour through the scanners, that's all I wanted.
Okay.
Meeps is like, again.
It's like, it's just the same tests.
No. We are responsible. We know how much radiation we can take in one day. Maybe tomorrow.
Maybe tomorrow. How long can we stay?
Blue time will tell.
Can't think of anything else.
Okay. Will, you said you were looking through the yellow pages?
Yeah, the yellow pages, but now I have the pamphlet, which might be a little more specific.
Yeah, it gives you an
information I already
actual
want,
location.
so-
Yeah.
So I just read through that for any info.
Okay. So I will tell everyone that also, if you have any other information that isn't directly, isn't like radiation or whatever have you, if you're just straight up looking for more information, you can roll me a connect and see if you can find someone for that just has that information that's willing to trade on the hab. So whether you're looking for fault stuff or you're looking for like pad or anything like that, you might be able to find someone here that knows something about it.
Okay.
But in terms of the kind of theoretical theorists, they are relegated to a separate hab. You kind of have to go through an access tunnel to get to them, and they're situated above the crater. So they're up in the sunlight, the dim sunlight here. So are you going to them first, or are you going to Met, who is the fault specialist? Or do you want to split up?
Let's split up, gang.
Well, the problem is Will wants to talk to both. So if we're splitting up so that one goes to Met and one goes to the Weird, that's not really going to work for Will.
Fair.
So I don't know if there's other
Probably
things
for the
we
best
want
we
to
don't
split
split
up,
up.
or we can do that. But
Okay.
I think,
Group consensus.
Mhm.
Where would you like to go?
Met is
So
more
was it
relevant
Met
to the
or
entirety
Mep?
of the party.
Yeah,
Met, yeah.
Met.
I think it's time to meet Met.
Okay, so you take another. You have to take a shuttle for this one. They're fair ways out in the hab, and when you finally get there, you find what looks like a very small, thin office. It looks like they've almost just got a hallway. But have you met yet? Really, when you've met someone, you've met. So it's like a thin hallway of an office, and it's literally just like one room at the end of a hallway with other doors going to different departments. This looks like a very much a strip mall kind of office. So, like you go up to the second floor and there's all the professional places. Listen, this meeting met thing, it's going to be my brain just shut down hard when I was reading all of that. Wow. So you go and you knock on the door, and another polity greets you. She it's one of those days. She kind of, waves the door half transparent and looks you all over like, yes, what can I do for you?
We're hoping to meet with Met. Is that you?
That's me. Yeah.
We may have some data that is of interest to you.
Well, come in, please. Have a seat. And she has to like pull a couple of other chairs from other offices to get all of you seated in the office. It's very cramped. She sits down at at her desk. So what kind of information did you have for me?
Well, this is an abstract, and I hand over level 1. There's far more to it, but that's roughly what we're working with.
And what is this abstract specifically?
So this is effectively weird shit that happens, and that we may have reason to believe it's related to the fault.
So specifically, Cliff's Edge is location you got from the vacuum nerds. Yes. That is not the station that you were looking for, but that is the last station before you go in the surf, just for reference. So you're so sorry. This is kind of a weird question to ask, but what kind of weird? Because it's studying the fault you get. My level of weird is probably different from yours.
Well, radiation
Not sure about
that wasn't meant to exist, having extraordinary effects on everything, from senses to people to psionics.
Okay.
Autumn's head is like, Autumn is starting to get a bit of a headache. She just hands over level 2.
And level 2 is just a bit more kind of concrete information on it.
Yeah, exactly.
So okay, that's this isn't the first time I've seen it, but it's usually not with radiation. So that's
Do you
weird.
mean it's not the first time you've seen it?
Well, this is not. It's I haven't seen this a lot, but I've seen this before. This similar phenomenon to this. It used to happen when we first started colonizing near the fault. This actually happened to a couple of colonies. It's not widely known. A lot of the information was hushed up, but so there's something about the way the fault is, and I know that that's not exactly scientific, but it's almost a pseudoscience in and of itself. The way the fault is affects organic life, and even to some extent mechanical life, very strangely. Though this, I hadn't considered the radiation angle before. That's a very interesting hypothesis.
I have 3 more of these with varying levels of detail. What I do want to establish is that this would be an investment from our side.
And what is it you're looking to get out of it, if I can ask?
an understanding of what on earth is going on and what may be causing it. And I'll look at Will, who was the person who was the most excited about the prospects. Will, you had a theory?
Oh. Well, so you see, I think something might live there.
This might be a hunting technique.
Something living there. Do you have any evidence of that? I'm not meaning to discredit, but it's well.
I hand over the level 5 because Autumn is going to not be able to handle explaining all that she's found.
Mm-hmm.
It's
Now,
a theory, but
is the code
pattern.
included in this one, or
have you told me not to include the code?
no?
Okay, then it's included.
Okay.
What
Okay.
code?
I was just about to ask.
Yeah,
There were many
this is
codes.
pretty much
The
everything that I think
snippets
might
of
be
code
fault
that-
related. That this,
okay,
you know, that this is a sort of, it's a spread, it's mind control.
The whole gamut. Okay.
Yeah, the whole
the
sort
code
of,
fragments that were being
The
Yeah.
little seeds that
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
But the seeds are contaminants, so do we have any precautions on...
there's a bit more
It's
to
more
that.
like a snapshot, I imagine.
We sorry, for last session, we had a little more like it's more of a data like a technical write-up of what the code is actually doing.
Yeah.
On
Okay.
top
Yeah,
of
and the
It's like
fact
a-
that it's still writing itself.
Yeah.
Okay, so it's not the code itself. Okay.
No.
no. Just information about it.
I'm gonna tell you straight
No.
up. If you tried to give the code out,
No.
maybe don't.
No.
No, but just sort of, this is what it's doing.
Okay, so she looks over it and she's like, I don't fully understand all of it. I'm
Welcome to the club.
not a code specialist by any means, but what you're well, hold on. But if that's she starts rifling through some notes and like starts jotting down some things. Did it contact you in any way, in any meaningful kind of communication, or was it more of a
Yes.
Could you tell me about that?
We received an SOS from a ship that was sort of riddled with all of this stuff.
It actively sent these pieces of code to us. When we got close to it, there was also attempts at... I know psionics were involved. I'm not entirely sure what it did. There was verbal communication with entities that may never have existed. Whatever it is, we talk to it or its projection. And that code is still growing.
It attempted communication on most of the channels known to us, to be fair.
It attempted to... It specifically wanted an AI to be taken off of that ship and onto ours. That's the one that was adamant about getting out.
It says in here you've got these seeds, as you said, they're in containment.
Yes.
This
To the
is
best that we can contain it.
This is not a request for knowledge at the moment, but if agreeable, would you allow me to see it? I'm more of a hands-on kind of person, but obviously I know that is high level kind of exchange.
What would be your offer in exchange for that?
My theory, and this is not what I expected to be working on today, but that's why I'm here. I think you are correct that something's living in the vault. Something.
And you think that might be a spore?
I
Is that where you're
think
going?
I think this is a spore of a spore. I think that whatever this thing is can integrate with any kind of life. If it's able to interact with not only your ship but with you, I think it could potentially seed itself into any thing. It's you normally don't see this kind of parasitism or infection without some kind of limitation, but it doesn't. If it's running all of this through radiation and it's somehow, I think what you've got on board your ship is almost the offspring of whatever's living in the vault. To put it in biological terms, it's not literally birthed from it, but it's not birthed from it.
We're carrying an egg. Is that what you're saying?
For lack of a better term, yes.
We're gonna be parents.
Sorry, say again, Jem.
We're gonna be parents.
That's certainly one way to look at it. I don't know whether this new life will have the same capabilities as its forebearer, but I would strongly recommend you develop something to neutralize it should it come to that. I normally wouldn't advocate destruction of life, but in this circumstance, this is...
Who do you think is the best person to talk to about that, about this type of self-writing code?
No one here on Rinty, I think. You might be better off with... Hold on.
Both to know what it's doing and how to contain and potentially eradicate it.
There was something, and she gets up and goes over to a wall safe and kind of opens it up, starts piecing through things. It's a risk, but there was someone who knew more about this. They're no longer with us due to circumstances. Do you know much about these habs? Our installation?
Only a little. We got a pamphlet. It was quite helpful.
There's something
We're
they
tourists.
there's something they don't tell you about in the pamphlet. And that's that there used to be a third hab.
Oh.
Oh.
I say used to be. It's still there, but no one's on it. People nowadays call it Umbral Hub because it's locked in a geostationary orbit on the dark side of Rinty. It's free floating. It's not powered, but it's where this scientist especially did a lot of their vault research and was doing some unregistered and unrestricted AI research.
Of course.
The reason it's no longer being used is because of that. Something went wrong. Nobody knows quite what, but it was quarantined and no one goes there. But if there's anywhere that might have logs of something like this...
So who studies the former hub?
No one.
This
is looked at as a black mark in this society. That kind of research to be done without limitations, without boundaries, is inherently dangerous. It's why we don't allow the people on Dynai to run explosive experiments to such a degree that it could crack the planet. It's why they don't allow us to do chemical engineering with chemicals that are known to be abhorrent or otherwise dangerous to people. Science needs limitations, otherwise things like the fault happen.
whenever there's people with minds, no matter how strict the rules are, there are those who will seek to circumnavigate them. Who
we'll do
might
our
know a
best
bit
to
more about this than they should?
Wait, can I get like a little brief, like kind of like a shortened down explanation of what they're talking about?
Yeah, no worries. Basically what they're talking about is someone was doing research that was inherently dangerous and something happened. And now that place where they were doing the research is quarantined, cordoned off, no one goes there. It's basically like a ghost hab.
But what were they researching in the first place?
Sentient AI and
And-
whatever's living in the vault.
Hold on, I gotta think through this. Hold on.
Mm-hmm. So you were asking, Autumn?
Who might know more about this? Because Autumn is dead set convinced that no matter what society you're in and how strict the rules are, there's always someone who's going to want to peek behind the curtain. So not necessarily someone who's doing forbidden knowledge, but who's
Might
a
be
bit more interested and
Okay.
maybe dabbled in it and might know.
I'm trying to think what I want you to roll here, because this is definitely a roll to convince her to do some to kind of give that information up.
Would it? I think it would be like a talk.
I think a talk would work here. Yeah.
I'm not trying to get anyone in trouble. I'm trying to save lives. Wisdom or intelligence? Will you let me use either of those?
I would choose either of those. Yeah.
I think it would be like charisma.
Yeah, it could be charisma
Like,
as well. It's any of those soft skills or soft attributes I'll let you use. Yeah.
No.
No.
I'm rolling terribly today.
It happens. Listen, I don't want to get anyone in trouble either, and talking about this can get you barred from certain groups. So I recommend, if you're going to look into it, be careful. There's some people on this hab who don't always view what we do in the best light. And if they think you're looking into something like this, they might, well, let's just say you won't be going back to your ship soon.
So, if I let me check if I understand this correctly. It's it's a space station floating on the orbit of this planet, right? And we got its location.
Well, you know it's around in the dark side of Rinty. You don't know specifically where, but you know it's there.
Okay, so if we find nobody to talk about it here, we can always take a look ourselves.
Would stand to reason, yeah.
And Mips didn't see this code before, but Mips was looking above Autumn's shoulder. And doing sounds like
Yes, those will make sense to me.
I know some of these words.
Yeah, I feel like if we want to get that knowledge, we probably are going to have to go there and get it ourselves.
If talking about it is forbidden, it's going to be guarded.
No, it sounded like was left alone.
Abandoned is the feeling you got.
Well, I think for the sake of plausible deniability, we drop this argument.
Yeah, completely. Yeah.
No, of course we won't go investigate that crazy habitat. No.
Never
We'd never do that. And if we would, just to confirm, if we were going to do that, which we're totally not, is there anything we'd need to know about it to make sure we don't do it?
That's what I was trying to find out.
Listen, all I can tell you is we abandoned it for a reason, and if you decide to seek it out on your own head, may the consequences fall.
They usually do.
Now, if there was anything else I can help you with in terms of the fault, I'd be more than happy to.
I can't remember what else we needed to ask. If there
Would
was
you
anything.
happen to have any data on the passageways through the surf?
I do actually have some graphs on the passageways. These they're very
Great
fascinating,
question.
and she starts kind of rattling off kind of. She seems very excited about this specific thing.
Oh, yeah. I'm geeking out along with her. 'Cause
Yeah.
We're talking
yeah.
flight plans.
It's
now.
hard nerd talk. So what she tells you is that the passageways, especially in the surf, are not only known to change, but they actually change on a seasonal basis. Almost like the fault itself has ebb and flow kind of seasons. So within certain periods of the year, it should be less chaotic, and with other periods, it's more chaotic. There's higher levels of this kind of radiation and lower of this. She kind of gives you a quick rundown, like a Bill Nye kind of rundown of here's all the surface level facts. Consider the following. It's fucking dangerous. So Burl Nye, the fault line guy. But she also mentions that they are growing over the course. Like she's plotted a graph, and it's showing that incrementally the size of the passageways seem to be growing. So these little tunnels that kind of carve their way through the fault seem to, over time, there is an overall growth. They do contract and grow kind of almost in a pulsing way, but they do seem to be growing larger overall.
Okay. And is this enough to like be able to at least roughly predict?
If you
give it a certain time frame?
Yeah, I would say give me a. I know that phrase gives you so many questions, but give me honestly, a notice, I think would do on this.
Sure.
Yeah.
Notice with int. Yeah. Nope. Not a thing. Not a.
Would you like to add a d6 to that? Because we do have some d6s.
I would like to add a d6 to this.
Please,
that's okay
you've
with
got
the rest
9
of the party.
d6 sitting on your cast. Like,
I'm sorry, what? We have 9?
Go ahead and take a look at the street. You got 9 d6 sitting there for you.
Holy.
Wait, oh,
okay.
see, I have chat popped out. I don't have the actual stream, so I don't see the overlay.
That would do.
I should do that from now on.
We've been saving up potions for a boss battle.
Yeah, I should.
Yeah,
be
we are saving
on
them for
reminding
visiting
you.
strange hubs.
Yeah, that's
exploring
fair.
stations in the surf and so on.
That's fair.
All right, show me a 1. Nope, 5. So,
so that's an 8.
Don't call your shots like that.
So yeah.
Well, if I call my shots, they'll be wrong. So if I call them low, it'll be good.
That's true.
Sometimes it never works like that for me.
Yeah, sometimes it's on the reverse. So with an 8, you do actually get something. You're not sure the precise date, but you know within the next 2 weeks, there should be a fairly stable, large path for you to go through.
Perfect.
Yeah. You're not sure whether or not this would lead you to where the station is, but it's reasonable to assume that if it's stable, you could probably find it.
Yeah. If nothing else, like stability, scouting mission.
Exactly. Yeah.
Seem to mesh pretty well.
Yeah. You just don't know the specific dates, but within the next 2 weeks, there's a period in there.
Perfect.
Let me double check something else real quick. Ooh, that'll do. So what is everyone else doing? Is there anything else you wanted to ask Met, now that you've met her?
So we get something usable for Will to aid us in piloting to the surf. Right?
Yep.
That will give some bonus to the rolls.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I would say that would give you a bonus in piloting in there. Ooh, okay. Sorry, we're doing background things as well.
I was gonna say,
layers happening here.
That was a secret roll. Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay.
Don't worry about it. Don't worry your pretty little heads about it. This might be my favorite thing as a GM, is doing like side rolls for something completely aside from it.
Yeah.
Um,
I live for this
I
kind of thing.
think-
That's like the origin of my name. Anyway, carry on.
All right.
just for sake of pacing, we'll space it out.
I think Autumn's going to be a bit distant for the rest of the conversation.
Okay.
She feels like she's done her job. It's time for the others to shine if they have anything.
Mm-hmm. Did anyone else have any thoughts, questions?
Not to Matt.
No.
Right. So after she's done geeking out with Will, she kind of tells you, "I'll be in touch," and she trades contact info with you. How long do you plan to be here?
We don't know.
If we need
This
to,
point.
if we plan to use this info, I think we need to plan heading to the station to check soon. We can't plan to stay here for long. The navigational data has a freshness to it, right?
Yeah, but we'll have more reason to come back to the system.
Mm-hmm. Well, but when you're leaving, send me a wave, and if I haven't gotten back to you by then, I will. But yes, if you do agree to me seeing this egg, I suppose, for lack of a better term, please let me know, because I have plenty I'd be willing to offer, and for such a thing. I wouldn't take it by any means, just to study it.
Yeah,
I think that would be reasonable.
We'll have to talk over the logistics of that with our science team. But yeah.
All right. Your science team.
I say science team. Our one. Yeah, exactly.
Of Yurt and occasionally the rest of us.
Yeah.
I think the next thing is the scanners and trying to sell that for credits.
Okay.
Or the puzzlers.
Oh yeah, the theorist.
I was gonna say,
yeah.
Will's next stop would be the theorists.
Okay.
Okay.
And on the way,
I'll tag along with the group.
And on the way, Meeps wanted to ask something.
Okay.
Once we leave.
Okay. So I think we bid Matt adieu and then peace. Okay.
Go for it.
So I saw you found some new stuff. It was wrong of Meeps not to ask about it. It looks like sort of cross between life form and AI. Right?
Yeah, that's kind of.
Yeah, that's a fairly reasonable assessment.
I don't think we know enough about what it is yet.
Well, the thing, we think it's wrong to use the word thing. Maybe let's use the word creature. That we had contacted us, that we had contact with on the ship.
We don't know if it's a creature.
But I think.
What do we call it an entity?
Entity. Good word. Mix likes it. So the entity comes from fault. These are some like X of this entity. But it meets some criteria for life form. So why would we want to exterminate it?
Have you ever done pest control?
Yes.
Have you ever encountered a plant that kills anything in its way? That takes over completely and extinguishes everything else?
I haven't.
Will's giving Autumn very definite, are you okay? Eyes.
Sometimes there's an element of us or them when it comes to survival.
Have you heard of epidemics? Viruses that go
Yes.
unchecked, bacteria that can't be stopped.
Yes, but
Even
Until
if
we
it
know
is,
what it is.
if
Yeah.
that's problem MIPS has with this approach. Until we don't know what it is, we can't assume it's pest also.
But until
Maybe
we can't, we should assume the worst
who's
until we know for certain.
who's to decide what pest
Meeps.
is?
I haven't suggested killing it. I've suggested finding a way to do so in a worst case scenario.
We just wanted to say that we believe every live creature has right to live, even pest.
And yet we
And-
know how to kill every single one of us, and we don't. But we know how to.
Nip's mind doesn't go to killing
Neither does
easily and
mine.
quickly. But I wanted just to ask one thing. We used the word thing, we changed it for entity, we used the word life form, but is it sentient?
We don't know.
If it has an agenda, it must be.
We don't know if it has an agenda.
Well, right. Even non-sentient beings have an agenda to grow and spread. Correct. But I wanted just to suggest that if it may be sentient and we might be pest to it, let's not make judgments quickly here.
No, we're
We're
suggesting a
not-
fail-safe.
Yeah. It's if we're in a situation where our survival depends on being able to kill it, I'd really like to know how to kill it.
Not just ours, but we could talk planets worth of people.
True.
We still believe that there should be no killing before an attempt of communication not only has
We've
been made,
never
but
said there
also
would be, Meeps.
excluded.
No, we're talking like last resort. Like
Yeah.
no other thing we can do.
Okay. Okay, we trust you. So let's go to the weird guys.
I do have something I need to do, so actually perhaps I can do that while we're selling off the sensors. Oh, never mind, I'll get around to it later. Let's do the weird stuff first, all right?
Okay.
So you catch a shuttle out to the kind of exterior hab. This one's settled, as I said, up on the top of the surface, not in the crater. So it's currently bathed in sunlight. And when you get there, it feels much more like a science dorm room than it does a real lab. There's kind of, it's not so much dirty as it is just unorganized. There's lots of like papers everywhere, stacks of textbooks up on the table. The kitchen looks as though it hosts about 30 people, but you only see 3. So there's a lot going on in it.
These are my people.
Yeah, it feels like the kind of people who spend 30 hours a night conspiracy theorying. It's got that look to it. It's one like jot shy of the asylum. So when you go in, there's no door per se. It's just kind of an open archway with a sign that says "Knock for entry."
Yeah, I was going to say we knock for entry.
I was going to say, yeah, this is important. Oh, hello. Give me just a moment. So
Just hear
down,
cans rattling.
yeah, you hear a lot of books hitting the floor. It sounds like someone knocked over a mountain of books. So you see a Jintai stumble down the staircase and nearly hit their head on the awning itself, and they kind of grab the frame with both hands to stop themselves. Like, hi, yes, what can I do for you? Are you lost?
This far
Did you need
ahead.
directions?
we're where we need to be.
I know
We may
that
have
feeling.
something that interests you.
I like when people say that, but usually it's something weird. But I also like
Yeah.
that. So yeah, come on in.
I hand over the level 1.
So they kind of do like a backhanded like grab it as they're coming back up the stairs and start going over it. We got a live one.
This is just an introduction, a bit of a taste.
Ooh, a teaser, the appetizer. All right. So they kind of hold it up to light like. So what's the teaser? What's level 1?
So remind me, what are we pitching to the weird?
It's a really good question.
I think it's more wheels.
Yeah, I had
Yeah.
questions for them.
Okay.
But I also want to give them like a general gist of like, hey, this is the
Yeah.
weird shit that brought us here.
My thought would be like the same level 1 we gave the Wake Chasers.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because like this is the system's version of the Wave Chasers.
Yeah.
As far as
Basically.
I think that's a good way.
Yeah,
of putting
it's a
it.
good comparison.
Yeah. So the more of the supernaturally type stuff. We got a distress call when we shouldn't have. And
Right.
we got there and we found things didn't exist and all that stuff.
Do you include anything from what the Wake Chasers told you?
No, I think not for level 1 at least.
Okay.
Yeah, we'd want more of a unpolluted.
This is
assessment.
the back of the book cover.
Yeah,
it's right. Yeah. This is what you give to someone when they're like, "Hey, can you write me
this
like
is
a
movie trailer?"
Yeah, this is the synopsis. Okay.
Autumn is a sentient birch tree.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So, all right. So your pad agents. That much is clear. And you found a weird distress signal. So like, what was weird about it? Because I know it's always something weird when someone shows up at our doorway, but what flavor?
I think Autumn is leaving this conversation mainly to Will because he was the one who was super keen on it.
I'd call it like a fruit punch.
Okay.
We've got.
Is that a human thing?
Yeah, that was a poor attempt at humor.
Okay, sorry. No, it seemed funny. I just didn't get the.
Yeah. It's a medley of flavors.
Oh, okay.
If that makes more sense. Yeah.
Weird to use like a song thing to reference fruit, but I think I get it.
Yeah. There's some technological elements, some radiation elements, and some psychic elements.
Ooh, hang on.
Yeah.
I'll call someone in. So he shouts out, hey, come here. Shouts a name that seems kind of unintelligible. And in comes Autumn. I can't remember if your ability is active or it's passive that you can tell if someone's psychic. I want to say it's passive, but I just want to double check that before I say anything.
I think it depends on which upgrade I have. I notice,
because I think it's just something like
I can through a round of visual inspection at level 2, which I think is where I'm at.
Yeah, you're at level 2. Yeah.
It would also stand to reason.
If I take a little bit of a closer look.
Yeah. It would also sort of stand to reason that if he's calling in a psychic specialist, it might be worth a look.
Yeah, and I think given Autumn's state of mind, everything gets a second look.
For sure.
Yeah.
So another Jintai comes in, and he looks distinctly different. You've noticed this with a lot of Jintai is that their head and their body, despite being two separate pieces, always look contiguous. They look like they fit together, right? They look designed for each other. This kind of looks like if you took two different brands of Jintai and put them together. For reference, if you were putting together Lego, this would look like Lego mixed with like, not Roblox, but with something similar, but not quite the same. It looks odd. So this Jintai comes in, and you, Autumn, you would notice pretty much right away that they are psychic to some degree. You can feel the same kind of feeling from them. They're not doing anything to you, but they give off the kind of emanations of it.
Get a small ping.
So they sit down. They don't say anything. Yeah, sorry, go on. This is our resident psychic expert, so kind of wanted them in on it.
Yeah, so technological radiation and psychic. I'm struggling to put it into words, I guess.
We get that a lot. So instead, tell me how you felt. Tell me, you know, how it felt to be in this situation, because usually it's the feelings we get more information out of.
I am keeping a close fucking eye on that psychic.
Okay.
Right now with this.
Okay.
Well, we didn't feel any different until we knew something was wrong.
Okay.
It was like our perception of it was shaped by the thing itself.
Interesting. So it kind of like it twisted your view of things.
Yeah.
Weird. Do you have any ideas about why that would be?
Not yet. We're looking into some things.
Okay. No pressure. Just curious. You know, this is kind of our wheelhouse. So you said it happened from a distress call, and you said there was something like strange about it. It kind of changed how you saw things. What are you looking for, Will, specifically out of this?
There's been some other mysterious things that have sort of cropped up from our findings that have been kind of bugging me, and I get the impression that you folks might have at least some arrows for me to point in the right direction. I'm looking specifically for like folkloric references.
Okay. That's kind of where I fit into this equation. Are we talking like human folklore? Hawks? I've got some Arcadian.
Unknown.
We also have a lot of that. That's about 60% of what we have. Do you have anything that you could give us to kind of point us in the right direction to give you an arrow for it, or is it just you're looking for a source of information? Because we can just kind of give you an encyclopedia.
Yeah, so I pull up my data pad
Okay.
and just like give an excerpt of the pin that we got from the Wake Chasers.
Okay.
Specifically the homestead references. I can't remember the exact text of it, but
yeah. The exact text was, "Isn't this that old homestead of theirs?"
Yeah. And it was down by the Sol Peak, if I recall correctly.
Yep.
Right.
And they kind of he kind of looks at it and goes, "I don't. Something about that seems really familiar."
Right.
I know I've heard about that before. Hold on, one sec. So he goes off into another room, and you hear him start rummaging through papers. And the psychic has just been sitting there the whole time, kind of just staring blankly through all of you, like not really looking at any of you. And about 5 minutes later, takes a while, you hear a shout of, that's why. So he comes back, and he's got like a little slip, kind of like a holographic, like projector paper, almost like a thin sheet, and kind of does like a, and hands it over to you. That's why I know it. So this is the only thing we've ever found in relation to that, as far as I can remember. I mean, it might have gotten lost, but I'm pretty sure this is all we had. But that should be related. I think these are supposed to be like maybe mathematical formulas or coordinates or something. And this is what it says on it.
Oh,
Feel free
good.
to share that out to the rest of the group if you want.
Yeah, I will copy it down for my own notes.
Okay.
Just because Zoom is not persistent.
No, it's not. We can save the chat as well if that's an issue.
True.
What's up, polished?
Pardon?
Oh, sorry. You made it sound as if you wanted to say something. My bad.
Oh, no, just that I do send a note, a comms message to the ship if I can, just to,
Sure.
hey, can you run those scanners?
Yeah, sure. Your kind of sends a message back like, can do, and you don't get a message back for another 15 or so minutes, but
Yeah.
she sends you the results of it.
Yeah, so I pass on that. It looks like a list of coordinates, some tolerances. I guess it looks like. I don't know. Would Will understand the shorthand?
Roll me a no.
Sure.
Yeah. I'll say +1 because you are a pilot.
Plus 1. 12.
Nice.
Jeez. With the 12, yeah, those are definitely like stellar coordinates. This is the kind of thing that you might use, or might have used at least. It looks very old. It looks like it was supposed to be almost like a geographical coordinate. Like if you wanted to find a specific point in space, that's what this looks like.
Right. All right, log that away.
Okay. I'm giving you tiny little breadcrumbs.
Yeah, I know, and I love it.
I love it.
I love it and hate it. I love it and hate it. It's both. I swear.
You're like my seagulls. I've got to feed you.
I guess so. I have one more thing, and it might sound kind of out of the blue and might be hard to look up. But I have there's a phrase that I heard somewhere, and it's been eating at my back of my head.
I mean, phrases. We do phrases, yeah.
A pair in the dust, alone they must part.
And almost without a beat, the psychic follows that with deep within nothing they will find the heart. It's an old prayer. Are you a follower of the faith?
Not practicing.
All right. No judgment meant. I myself was once part of the faith, no longer, thankfully. What the phrase you spoke, it's part of a full prayer from the veiled host. It's some old story or parable that they believe there's something in the fault, and that is their way of searching it. I think you humans call them the Mormons for some reason.
Oh. Okay.
Morton is not understanding any of these references, so just genuinely confused.
If anyone wants
probably
to
doesn't know a lot about them either. But
I was going to say, if anyone wants to roll a no, you can roll a no on the veiled.
Let's have a look. Yeah, let's do it.
I definitely would.
That would be an int check.
Apparently, I know more.
Apparently, you do.
More than me.
And meets information gatherer.
Coming out of nowhere.
He's been around for a while. He knows.
He's been around. He's been around the block. And
gathering information is all I care about.
Yeah.
So on a 6 or a 7, you it sounds like a religious group. Like you've heard of the Mormons, but you don't really know much about them. Pardon me. All you know is that they send out ships with like in a pair to go out into the fault, and that's about it. With the 10, you know that they are about as softcore as a religious extremist group could be.
Oh, I
They're-
am not happy about this information at all.
Yeah, they don't like, they've never been known to kill people, but the fact that they send out 2 ships and they never return is essentially, for most other people, it's tantamount to like murder. They're sending out 2 ships over and over and over, and they never come back. On a 13, Meeps, you also know that this particular group has been around for about, I'm trying to think of the right numbers here. It's been about 4 centuries now that they've been around. Oh, that silence though.
Well, I know why they appeared on Autumn's radar, but
Yeah, they would show up as a red flag. Like as soon as you
Yeah.
step foot in other parts of the range, they would show up as like a oh.
so they repeatedly send ships into the Fade,
Into the fault.
into
Yeah.
the Fault.
Yeah.
Sorry again.
No, it's all good.
getting,
Dragon Age?
Yeah. Skyrim and Dragon Age are my references.
The
for
Argonians
the
are going
sci-fi
into
terms.
the
Yeah.
The Argonians are strong in this one, yeah.
It's all good.
Look, unless it's Star Trek terminology, we go fantasy.
For those watching at home, it's currently morning where Autumn is. So it's
Very early morning.
Yeah. I'm
It's
so sorry.
7:30 by now, but yeah,
Still.
I think I was.
It
at my
is morning
computer at 5.
already, but it wasn't before.
Yeah,
It's
well,
been morning for a while.
morning's subjective. So yeah, the psychic is kind of sat there. How did you come
Yeah, no.
across this piece?
I don't even remember, honestly. Like, I just, when just like a song pops into your head, even though you've never listened to it or haven't listened to it since like you were 2, it's just something that it just popped into my head one day.
Will, how old are you?
17, give or take.
Are you sure about that? Sorry, I didn't mean. Have you verified that?
Yes. And the look Will's giving you is kind of like a, please drop this right now because you're close to outing me.
Yeah, she drops it instantly.
The psychic probably already knows, but whatever, it's fine.
Well, given that you as well, Will, are psychic to some degree, you haven't felt any probing.
Okay.
Yeah.
I just didn't know if that was a metapsionics only thing, because like I definitely don't have that.
You still kind of know what it's like. You don't necessarily know that they're psychic, but you know when you're being targeted to a degree. If it's like a direct kind of point to point, you'll probably get it's like when you know someone is looking at you.
Right.
Like you get that like hair on the back of your neck kind of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's something I must have heard at one point and just kind of just popped in.
People outside of the faith often don't know that prayer. So if I may ask, was someone in your family?
Caravan? I grew up on a caravan, so all types,
Was there anyone you knew that practiced, spoke the prayer to you maybe?
Not that I can remember, but I literally, thousands of people in and out of the caravan.
Happy birthday, Bits.
I would meditate on this if that is something you're partial to. This kind of information is usually not gleaned unless you're familiar with or you're adjacent to the faith. It's it's uncommon, to be sure. And as we deal with uncommon, this is familiar but strange. You, for all intents and purposes, you shouldn't know that phrase.
All right, I guess I did sign on to be creeped out when I came here. Yeah, I'll think on that a little more. Thanks.
Of course, and don't hesitate to come back should you have any more questions about it.
Yeah. Thank you.
Of course. Was there anything else any of you had to ask?
That's all I had.
Yeah, Autumn is completely lost in thought.
All right. So what else do you want to do then? If you're going to bid them adieu, we are about 20 minutes, I think, from the end of the stream, so we can start wrapping things up.
I don't. Will doesn't have anything else specific to do on this hab.
Since we are
sorry, I'm debating whether or not to ask about the Umbral hab.
Might be worth a try.
See are you debating out loud?
No, sorry, I right. I should have not.
No, I just mean like among your crew, right?
Well, all right. I've already asked a bunch of weird shit. Do you guys know anything about and I'll kind of like do one of those very like cartoonish like look arounds before just like very quietly saying the Umbral hub or hab. I know it's not something openly discussed in other circles here. But
yeah, they both kind of give each other a look of like, we're under orders not to talk about it.
Cool.
But if you
I would not want to pressure you.
If you were to go looking about, I would recommend not mentioning it by name.
Yeah, that's probably a fair assessment.
It might keep you under the radar. Not to say that we have done that in any way, shape, or form. We are in no way connected or affiliated with people who might do these kind of things. And they it seems like they're going through a rhetoric at this point.
Yeah, obviously,
yeah.
Yeah, that would be a preposterous undertaking. Why?
Of course.
Why would anyone even suggest
yeah,
that?
No one on these habs even talks about that hab.
Nope.
But theoretically, if a hab was to go in some kind of awful direction like that, what could have happened? In theory, theoretically.
In theory, it could potentially be something to do with research experiments going rampant, or something in the air. Yeah, theoretically, of course, there's lots of different sciences on this kind of hab or other habs. So really, who's to say? But it's probably dangerous.
Yeah, and I'm sure no one has any like scams or anything of the
no
of the structure. That would be
no. I can tell you're trying to go for it. If you want that to be your kind of like, under the table, maybe we can make a deal. Roll me a talk. If you want that.
I'm especially keeping an eye out for, like, she's not listening to the conversation as detailed as she normally would, but she's definitely keeping an eye out for any psychic activities as soon as underhanded discussion starts happening.
Okay.
I don't think Will's that subtle or pushy at this point, because they've already done him a lot of favors.
That's fair. Just wanted to give you the option.
I could try that. I'd be tempted to give that a shot.
Okay.
Let's go for it.
An 8. Well, no one here on this hab would have any kind of scan like that. All data to it was erased. No one knows who, but it was erased. But I know there's a lot of hoarders over on Dinai Hab, and they could have some weird information that escaped some kind of erasure.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So I have to see what we can find.
Theoretically,
yeah. As a theoretical,
I'm sure that could cause some troubles for people.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we definitely don't want to do that.
Anyway.
Yeah. It's like it's.
Maybe we should be going now.
I think it's time to hit the old
Yeah. Dusty Trail, I think you people call it.
Yeah, I was thinking of a
Why
trying
would
to
a
think
trail
of
be dusty?
I'll explain on the way.
I never understand.
Okay.
It. Yeah. Maybe they all grew up on a desert planet or something.
Oh yeah. So thank you.
Of course.
Again,
if you have any other questions, come back and we'll happily give you whatever information we have. I hope that helped.
Yeah, I think so.
Is there anything else anyone would like to do this session, or are you okay with waiting until next?
Well, my plan for Meeps is having a little chat with the crew.
Okay.
I thought about this X and need to pursue the topic further, but that this can be happening either between sessions or on next session.
Well, we still have a bit of time, and
you do,
to
yeah.
sit on conversation. We're not over time or anything.
Just before you leave, I just gotta share with Autumn. You do, as you're leaving, you get a message psychically that says, "Watch out for him. He may not know everything yet."
I give them a turnaround look and raise it for a few branches in question, very discreetly.
You get a very cryptic kind of, no one who wasn't part of or adjacent to the faith should know that. Just a heads up. Watch him.
She just leaves.
Okay.
I'm sorry, and when Polish said she just leaves.
Yeah, I know.
Oh, I didn't even get that. Oh, fuck.
It wasn't an intentional pun, but I realized it when I said it.
Jeez. So, Meeps, you want to have a conversation with the crew? If that was still on the table.
So we would have gone. Are we back at the ship at this point? Because if our next stop is Dinai, we'd have to hop over to the other system, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, aren't they twin planets?
They are, yeah. So there's a shuttle you can go between.
Okay.
Yeah.
I do want to go via the ship, if that's possible.
We want to go to shipyards to upgrade the ship, so anyway.
I will say,
and we probably want privacy.
There are no shipyards in this system.
No workshops, no anything.
Yeah, not for spaceships specifically. They have smaller workshops, but they don't have anything to upgrade.
Then how are we meant to get credit from the first person we talked to about the radiation shields?
We can take.
Was that somewhere else that their contact was?
No, that was on Dinai, but
maybe we can get some equipment to install ourselves.
Exactly. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. But in terms of like using the credit at a starport, that is not applicable here because they don't have one.
Okay.
Yeah, they have like a small kind of
We
docking bays and things, but
Anyway, we want to install on the ship, so anyway, we should take the ship. So,
Mhm.
in my opinion, too,
that makes sense.
ship is safest location anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you hop over to Dinai and you pass by Diamond Hub, kind of in a
Well,
arc
so we would have this chat on the
flyover.
aboard.
Okay.
On the
Yeah.
bridge on the way, yeah.
We noticed you are very troubled, Autumn, with everything we've learned, and but more with everything we've talked about. Maybe it was
No.
wrong to push.
None of
Yes.
this is good news.
Well, maybe you thought you told us you are not good at trading, but now we wonder if it is a good idea to trade in this information after all, at all. Is this a thing we want to be a currency?
We've already told, what, 4 groups of people?
I was gonna say it's a little
I think
too
it's
late
4
to.
now. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, yes, we know, but the information will spread on its own now, right?
Potentially. So far, 3 of the people we've talked to have reached out to immediately discuss it with someone else.
I can't stop thinking about how the creature how the entity might be a sentient one. This religious group that was mentioned is a very old one. From what we understand, it has not a best opinion in the range. But it sort of connects together everything. They are flying in, the eggs are coming back. Well, not back. The eggs are coming out.
That's one
So
possibility.
There's
many possibilities.
Will, you were raised on a caravan, right?
Yeah.
But where you were born?
No idea. Thought we'd been over this. I was very little when my parents found me.
And this thing you remember, but you have no idea where you remember it from. From what I understand about, well, humans, yes?
I think we need more information before we can speculate on this. And I think we need to be careful where we speculate.
That's why we waited till you are on the ship.
That doesn't mean we're out of range.
You psychics perceive places for conversation differently than we do.
I have things to do on Dino. in the interest of time, perhaps I could do that while the rest of you sell the scanners, because if anything, that's the one thing I do want to get out there, is to not have people unknowingly walking into radiation.
Okay.
I'm not sure I want to go on Dynai.
Yeah.
So maybe Eva, you'll handle this time, trading.
Okay.
Luna, do you
So sorry.
like the idea of going to Dino as well? Or...
I'm sorry, who is that to?
Luna.
Sure.
What other tasks did we have on Dynai? It was mainly trading the
Scanners,
and you've-
sensors.
the scanners,
Yeah.
and you've got your own task you want to do. So okay.
Yeah, I've got
And
something to
upgrade-
do before we leave.
And upgrading, finding a way to upgrade ours.
Sure. Okay. I can probably handle that.
Okay. So you land down on Dynai, and instead of it being in a crater, it's up on the top of a mountain. So you kind of land out on a kind of a landing pad strut. When you go in, it feels much more like a machine shop than the labs did over on Rinty.
Now I'm at home.
Yeah, it smells like engine oil. It smells like metals and filings and a bit of like kind of the leftovers of explosions and things like that. You smell like nitric acid and
Eva's like personality just like switched itself on completely as soon as she got that scent of like, okay, yeah, I'm home now. Let's do this.
So
explosions.
It's like Candyland for Eva. Everything that you would see in like a magazine, like Popular Mechanics or whatever, it's like that on steroids. It's just someone's got like a walking exosuit over there and they're carrying something else that is not an engine, but it could be. There's lots of different things going on. Less small cubicle laboratories and more open concept workshop in a lot of the habs.
Okay.
So you're looking to sell the radiation scanners.
Yes, I need to find someone that's that scanning equipment would be their stock in trade.
Okay, roll me a connect on that.
Okay, let's see what we can do. Connect. Probably gonna have to use a dice on this one. See what happens. Yeek.
Whoa.
Ooh.
Awkward. Real awkward.
Yeah. Wow.
That awkward moment.
I feel like we've only had a couple of those rolled overall. Dang.
It's a natural one.
Do you want to use a D6 on that?
Yeah. I think I need to use a D6.
Maybe 2?
Yeah, maybe 2.
Double natural one.
We
with
had
minus-
like 9 of
one
them.
modifier.
So...
Yeah. Okay. So first D6.
Watch him roll 2 more ones.
Don't call my shots like that. Second D6. There we go. That's what I get.
That's
See,
an
look
11.
at that.
All right. So with an 11, good call. With an 11, you spend like almost 3 hours looking for someone, and by the time you actually find someone, it turns out they were one of the first people you talked to, and they just didn't know what you were talking about. Like they misunderstood one of the words somewhere, and they went, "Oh no, I don't deal with that." And then they heard literally the whole hab is like, "What are you looking for? You're looking for? Why don't you just go talk to?" And you're like, "No, but they don't want anything to do." So eventually, you get it sorted out. Can you roll me a trade to see how much it's worth to them? See how convincing you are.
I need another dice on this one. Trade with what stat?
Can I help? Can I help him on the trade?
Yes, you can actually. So I would say either plus charisma or int. So talking them up or giving them facts.
Okay.
Luna, if you want to roll.
Yes.
I'm help him on the trade.
Nice. Okay. And then what have you got,
That's
Ava?
+1?
Yep.
It's a +1. Okay.
Yeah.
See what happens. Yeah.
Ooh.
That's a 12.
No, that's 11. It's 11. The
You've
plus
already
is
added
in
that. I see.
Yeah.
Okay. So close. Yet so far. So with that, we're gonna roll 7. Yeah, you know what? Let's just do that. Let's do that. 55.
55 credits.
No. So the person you're trading it to basically asks, do you want to give us, like, do you want to sell us the full rights to build this thing and distribute it and all of that business? Or like, how do you want to sell it to them?
Do we want to maybe license this stuff out? Like, I'm assuming this is stuff we would have sorted out with the rest of the group. Like, I would have hashed this
Yeah, I
out.
don't want to give exclusive rights to anyone because
Okay.
I'm the one who made it. Like,
Totally.
Right.
Yeah.
I actually made the connection
Yeah.
with me.
Yeah.
So
This is a license to produce,
Okay.
but not exclusive rights.
Okay. So it would have been more obviously if they'd gotten the full rights, but if you're
Mhm.
just licensing it, I would say,
they'll be first to market though.
yeah, that'll definitely bump it up. I would say 8,500.
85. That's a good deal.
That's nothing.
That isn't really much. That's a fraction of a system to put in our ship.
We are talking handheld scanners.
No, there's the sensors in there too.
Oh, there was the sensors in there as well. Sorry, I was under the impression
Yeah.
it was just the handhelds. That was why.
Well, it's more
Like
about
that's at least what I went like. Yeah, these are the things you can sell.
Yeah.
Whether Eva
Technology
presented
for-
both is up to her.
I would have
technology
presented
for
everything you gave me.
detectors.
Okay, well, that's on me. With the sensors included, then yeah, that's way more. I would say it's probably in the range of, what did I say before, 8,500? So it's probably more like 175 grand.
I maybe messaged that offer to Autumn. At the end of the day, it's your tech.
Mhm.
I'm not gonna
The
sell
reply
it.
you get is, "Isn't that roughly what Meeps got for eating hot peppers?"
But
mean-
you don't have to turn into a claymore to do this. You know?
Ask for royalties.
I'm gonna just send back. Can do better. And then afterwards, royalties, question mark, percentage.
I relay this and try and haggle for
Okay.
a better offer, I guess.
Roll me another trade, yeah. We'll give you the +1 still.
Let me
Okay.
let me help him again with the trade.
Yeah, if you get
Can I
higher,
help him again with the
if you
trade?
get higher than 8, then yes. Otherwise, yeah, no.
Can I help just by having given that amount of sass in comms? Is that actually helpful?
We'll see what Luna rolls, and then we'll go off of that. I don't think that
I-
I
Oh,
don't
yes,
think
the
the sass
sass
is going to
bonus.
counter in as much. If you were actually there,
I got an 8 again.
an 8. Okay, so still just a +1.
Fuck. I did get an 11
You
beforehand.
did get an
Oh.
11 before that, so it's not a crucial fail. But they basically say like, yeah, we get a lot of people coming here with inventions to kind of market and things like that. So this is kind of within the normal frame of things. If you want to go somewhere else to, yeah, right. If you want to go somewhere else to market it, that's up to you. But that's our price here. We'd be willing to give you royalties over, say, the next 5 years.
Relayed.
Percentage?
Percentage royalties? How much are we
Mm,
talking?
40%.
Do you tell me that too? I like how Ewa's just like a
Yeah.
talking point. It's
He
like
was like,
she
hang
has
on,
more
let me check
important
my,
shit to do,
let
but
me
no,
check my
okay.
balance.
Price per unit to customer?
You're really going to dig me into this, aren't you?
Look, you offered me the same for a completely revolutionary invention as you gave Meeps for eating peppers. Yes, I'm pushing
keep
it.
in mind that this is literally the hub for revolutionary tech.
Yeah,
Like you're
they should know
bringing
what it's worth.
it should know what it's worth, and that's the level it's giving you. This is very much Shark Tank, I'm realizing. Jeez. Price per unit, you know, I'm not going to make up a number for it, but it's basically your 40% will amount to, let's say, an annual of like projected to be like 900 to 1.4 mil, like 900,000 to 1.4 mil.
That's far more acceptable.
Okay, we can have a deal.
Okay. So they shake on it. They, you know, write up contract, all that business. I'm going to write all that down because I'm sure you're going to come back to me with that.
Can I please have the fine print? No, Autumn's not that business savvy, but she knows when she has something that's worth.
We got 180k from that. Did you say? Sorry.
175.
175k.
Yeah. Royalties of 40% for the next 5 years.
Yep.
Okay. Yeah. And did you have anything else you wanted to do specifically, Ava? Or are you good?
I kind of like Eva just kind of wants to kind of look around and watch and see the things and like
cool.
If there's anything that seems like it would be really, really good to go on the ship, then she probably wants to investigate it further.
Okay. We'll get into that next session, I think. It'll give me a bit of time to think on it as well. But
sure.
Polished, you had something you wanted to do.
I've got a meeting to attend.
You do. So your contact told you to meet you in one of the machining bays. It's very loud in here, so it's kind of easy to do quiet conversations in there with communication tech. And when you see your contact, it looks as though it is a Trivian, or sorry, it was an Arcadian.
Yeah.
It was an Arcadian kind of off in the back talking with someone. And they gave you kind of a photo reference so you'd know what they look like. And when they see you, they motion to you and they hand you like a small earpiece and motion to put it in.
I discreetly put it in.
Okay. So kind of like
it's a bit
headphones.
awkward because I don't have proper
I was
ears,
just
but I'll
gonna
have
say.
to discreetly
Yeah.
pin a branch, like hold it down with one of my branches.
They give you one that looks kind of like it should suit you. And it's kind of like when you're on a helicopter and you put on the headphones, it deadens all the machining noise and allows you to directly communicate. So you were asking about the HAB. Is that right?
You are far more direct than I ever would be.
Well, that's why I chose to be here.
Do you know what I am?
You're someone asking about a HAB. If you're asking about your species, I've got no idea.
No, then you don't know what it means that I'm here.
No.
My point is, I know what you're risking.
Yeah.
What can you tell me?
What I can tell you is that I helped build Umbral HAB. And I was there when things went south. I can't tell you a lot about it because I was too busy running for my life.
Do you know what you were running from?
The station. The whole HAB, everything on it that could move was attacking us. The maintenance droids, the wall panels, doors. I saw someone get crushed in one of the ceiling doors. It's like it had a mind of its own.
Psionic attacks as well, or physical only?
If there were, I don't know. My species isn't psionically gifted. But if it happened, I certainly wasn't paying attention to it. I was a bit busy trying to escape murder bots.
Do you know what the catalyst was?
As far as I know, some scientist went a little screwy and started mixing some kind of science with another science. Like I'm a material scientist. I don't delve into whatever creepy shit they do, but as far as AI tech goes, that shouldn't happen unless someone made a virus. And we ran tests. We ran all kinds of tests. There was no virus or anything going on in there. It was like it was meant to happen, or like something was trying to make it happen. So as far as we can tell, someone was mixing normal material sciences with some kind of weird theoretical.
Is it still there?
As far as we know.
Is
We've
it
never
still
seen it
alive?
here. We've never seen it anywhere else. I don't know if I'd say alive, but I mean, no one goes to check on it, so who can say?
Is there any way to find out the layout, plans, what we're walking into, if we do?
I'll give you a deal. I'll give you the blueprints. I'll even give you an access code to the external door so you can get in. But I want something out of there if you go.
What is it?
When we were building that place, there was another scientist in there. They were working on something big, and it was abandoned halfway. Now, whatever happened, we're hoping that this prototype is still intact, and we're hoping that we can get it back and finish it.
I need to know what I'm bringing out of there.
I can give you
everything else we're
specs.
dealing with.
I can give you specs on it.
Okay.
Should
I do
be,
want to see the specs before I agree to it.
of course. I wouldn't expect you to do anything less. If you didn't ask questions, I probably wouldn't even be giving this to you. This isn't something you can just jump into and shoot away. Whatever's on that station is going to try to kill you.
Yeah. What are the specs that I'm getting?
You'll get them next session because I don't actually have them.
What I can say is that if we do go, provided there's nothing in here that alarms me beyond what I expect to be alarmed about, we might have a deal.
All right. Meet me
There's
here.
a call I need to make to confirm, but...
Meet me here tomorrow, same time, if you're still interested.
All right.
And we'll end there. I was wondering what that car alarm was going off with. Yeah, I couldn't tell whose side that was on. So that was a very heavy session.
Yes.
Woo. First off, is there anything anyone like afterwards? If there's anything anyone wants to talk about, please let me know, because I know there was a lot in there to go over. But let's go backwards. And Choppy, why don't you tell me what your favorite part was, who you are, and where we can find you next?
Well, my favorite part probably has something to do with my mysterious secret unknown link to some sort of weird space. I'll call them a religion for now, because I don't know how culty they are. So that's probably my favorite part for sure. Should I also do my outro, or are we going to do a second round with those?
No, yeah, do your outro, yeah.
Okay, so I am Chabi, also known as Hallway Secrets here on Twitch, Hallway 7 Secrets over on Twitter. You can obviously find me here, same bat time, same bat channel. I also stream. Currently, I'm streaming the Xenoblade Chronicles on Saturday mornings, but I'll be adding more streams to my schedule. So if you're interested, please keep an eye on Twitter for that. You will find me next over on Polished's channel later tonight, or this morning for her. Yeah, it won't even be afternoon for her. That's terrifying. No. Okay, nope. But yeah, I will let her speak on that, because that's her world.
Cool. Jem.
Hi, my name's The Only Gym. You can find me on my YouTube channel, The Only Gym. And the set, I can't really pinpoint my favorite moment in today's session. Not really, nothing kind of stuck out to me.
Oh, that's fair. There was a lot of knowledge getting tossed around and not like a lot of doing.
There's a lot of knowledge, spooky titian.
Yeah, definitely a lot of
Yes.
spooky titian.
Much spook.
Darkora.
I'm Darkora. I don't really do a lot on Twitch, but you can find me on Twitter at Darkora with an underscore. You most likely see me here next on Saturday for our next episode. Favorite bit tonight, probably getting to hunt, to have a look around in the Candyland. Sorry, that car alarm is still going off.
All good.
Yeah, I think that was my favorite bit, getting to play around in that, and I'm looking forward to seeing what we can find next time.
Cool. Polished.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I think my favorite part is just sort of, I did not expect Autumn to end up in this mindset so quickly.
Mm-hmm.
But she's effectively firing on all cylinders at the moment, which is a lot of fun.
Secret agent.
Yeah, in terms of me, I like I said, I'm Polished. You can find me here twice a week, and you can also find me on my own channel, twitch.tv/polishedcryptid. Next time we're live will be in just over 3 hours with some Monster Hearts.
Sweet. And Econorlax, finish us off there.
I'm Econorlax. You can find me next on the aforementioned game.
I'm just stealing everyone today.
That's all good.
Yeah.
My favorite
Hey, you're
moment...
still online later?
My favorite moment was Autumn being so, well, offended by the price of the technology being equal to Meep's price for eating. Well,
very unexpected, but delightful.
That's TV. Entertainment pays.
That's TV bucks there. Yeah, as for myself, so we rolled through the outros real quick there. As for myself, I GM here on Saturdays. You can also find me in 3 hours for Animus Absentus. I'm not screwing up time zones this time. I didn't double book myself, but every time I worry.
Jay, I literally check like every 5 hours to make sure I'm not.
You just gotta check. Who knows where Australia's time zone is? We certainly don't. You can also find me.
I mean, is Australia even real?
No.
Was I going to say? You heard it here first. You can also find me on Tuesday for the water game, which is 7 p.m. Mountain Time. And you can also find me on my own channel, twitch.tv/alienjays. And to round us out, thank you again to our sponsors, Fundamental RPG, and I've forgotten the name. It's in front of me. It's right in front of me. Thank you. Grinding Coffee Company. Remember to get 13% off your order at grindingcoffee.co by using the code RAVEN. That's RAVVYN, 2 V's. And other than that, thank you so much for hosting, Raven. Take it away.
Yeah, that was fantastic. Thank you, everybody. Thanks so much, everybody, for watching. Thank you, Jake Rose, for that raid, and for everybody who spent any guild points and things like that. Thanks so much. And yeah, we're gonna go on raid here ourselves. Just make sure that they're still online. Yes, they are. We're gonna go raid Tall Squall, who's a fantastic human being, and really, really great with tabletop stuff. So we're gonna go give them a raid, go say hi. And if you're not following him, definitely hit the follow button for sure. And then, yeah, you can see us all back here, or not all of us, but me and Jay and several other people in about 3 hours for Animus Absentus. And